Hello and welcome to the video for animation for Thursday in week 15. So on Tuesday, we looked at some different techniques for doing backgrounds. We looked at doing grayscale. We had some sample backgrounds. We looked at the color wheel and the Color Lovers website, and we looked at some other websites like ArtStation. And then I had you guys color a sample background. Today, we are going to look at the fact that, well, first of all, there's no more presentations due this semester. Everybody who was scheduled to do a presentation should have done theirs by now. If you didn't do yours yet, please do it and upload it to your Google Drive folder and send me an email so I'll know that it's there. But other than that, we won't have any more presentations because they were all scheduled. We do have a cognitive drawing exercise. This one's kind of fun. I guess the author, Jason, is giving you a break from drawing people, and he's just said, well, let's just have a little fun and draw this cute little cat here. So that's what you're doing today, just drawing the cat. Should be fun. And then for our video for today, we're on Principle 11 of the 12 Principles of Animation. It is something called solid drawing, and I'll let you guys watch the video to see what that is. But just as a brief explanation, solid drawing is where instead of just drawing a circle, what you do is you draw a circle and then you put some extra lines on it to make it look like a sphere. So it's creating your drawings as if they were using three-dimensional geometric objects. Squares become rectangles, or becomes cubes, I'm sorry. Like long tubes become cylinders, circles become spheres, right? Now, we also have here on the website an example of the last exercise. Zach has an example there of, well, actually, it's this exercise. He already did the solid drawing, so he's got an example of that. I may put up some examples of some of the houses you guys colored if I can find those in your folders. And what I would like you guys to do, after doing your cognitive drawing exercise and watching this video, is I would like you to do a solid drawing exercise. Now, I'm going to retype this. It says animate a character, but actually, this is not an animation exercise. This is actually a drawing exercise. So when you see this, it'll just say draw a character. But what I want you to do is go into Adobe Animate, and I want you to draw a character, and then I want you to redraw that character using this technique of solid drawing. So in other words, the first time you draw the character, I just want you to sketch something out very quickly. Don't pay any attention to, solid drawing or anything like that. In fact, it's even better if you just draw a very flat looking character. And then I want you to go back in and I want you to redraw all the shapes of that character using the three-dimensional objects, the spheres and the cubes and such. So let's see an example of that. So we'll jump over here to Adobe Animate. And as you can see, my award-winning drawing ability has allowed me to create this cute little cat, right? And this is what I'm talking about. You just make a little sketch, just make a little drawing, okay? Now, after you make that drawing, I would like you to basically copy that little cat. So you can click on your selection tool and drag over all that and do edit copy. And then I want you to make a new layer. Oh, and by the way, go ahead and name that object, whatever you create, if it's a cat or a bear or a person, whatever, give it the name of that character and then write black on it, right? Then I want you to make a new layer. And I have to move my thing here so I can get to this layer button, but I want you to make a new layer. I'm saying make a new layer and it's not doing it. Okay, I got to move this. It's because of the recorder that's recording the screen. It's in the same location as this button. Okay, there we go. So make a new layer and then go ahead and paste your cat in there, or your object, whatever it is, and then just drag it over here to the right and name that, like cat black copy or something like that. I already have one of these layers here, which I can delete, but because I'm doing it now as a demo. So in other words, what I want you to do is make a drawing, a sketch, right? Then copy it, create a new layer, and paste it on that layer and drag it over to the right so that you have two examples of your drawing. Now I can drag this back because I'm not going to be making any more layers, right? Now, I recommend that you make this drawing using black ink and that you name it, black, and then you can name the copy the same name, but copy, right? Now, the next thing you can do, you can turn off the copy layer by clicking on the X in the eyeball column, so you'll just see the cat black, right? Now, then what I would like you to do, I guess I do have to bring this back over here, way over here so that I can click on it. Make another layer, and then give this the same name, like, cat or whatever, but this time call it blue. So this is going to be cat blue. And what I want you to do on this layer is, grab your paintbrush tool like you did when you drew the first cat or the first object, whatever you drew. Go down here to your color swatches here and choose a blue color. And what I want you to do on this layer is I want you to redraw the cat, right? But this time, make everything into a three-dimensional object. So in other words, draw construction lines that allow you to see that this is actually a sphere. I can draw it over here so you can see it again. And I'm drawing with a mouse here, which is why it looks so kind of weird and funky. You can draw a dotted line in the back that shows kind of, if you could see through this, what it would look like, right? And then, so that's the back of it, and then this would be the front, would look something like this, right? So go ahead and take your shapes and redraw them on this blue layer. You don't have to draw the backgrounds like that. That's going to get kind of confusing, but go ahead and draw these foreground lines. Take each shape here and make it into a three-dimensional object. So for example, for this ear here, I'm going to draw it over here so it's easy to see. But what I would make is I would make something that looked like a three-dimensional triangle, right? And so it might look like, something like that. And so by building these solid objects, this one would be, something like a cylinder, right? With the lines around it, making it look like a cylinder. Some more cylinders here and down there, and then another oval that, has the lines that define it, right? So go ahead and on your blue layer, go ahead and redraw the character in these shapes as three-dimensional solid objects, right? Now, I've already done a blue layer here, so let me show you what that one looks like. This one was just an example of me, sketching it out right here. So I'm going to turn that one off. In fact, I think I'm just going to throw that one away. So let me go like this and click delete. Okay, we got rid of that. Okay, so we have our black layer here, and what you guys are doing is creating a blue layer and then drawing on it. So what I did was I made a blue layer, and I redrew that cat. I redrew each section of him so that he was more solid. So what I'll do is I'll turn off my black layer here so you can see that. So, here's the head as a sphere. Here's the ears as like three-dimensional triangles. And then I redrew like my eyes and my face so that they worked with the shape of the sphere. In other words, how are the eyes going to look if they are actually created on a sphere? And then I made my tail a cylinder. These are kind of cylinders. You can tell by the lines that's going around there. This line and this line are supposed to describe the spherical nature of this ellipse here. And so this is the second part of what I want you to do. You draw your character, you copy them, and you put them over here on the black layer, or you make two layers, a black layer and a copy layer. Then you go ahead and draw the blue on top of the black. Notice it doesn't match up exactly. You can, redraw that if you want. And you can also just turn this black off whenever you need to and just use it as reference, right? And then finally, the third part of this exercise is to go ahead and make a new layer. And I'll just do that right here. So let's turn off my black for a second. So we have just the blue. So then you make a new layer. And of course, we call this cat red, or whatever name you're going to give it. And then you click on this color over here, you make it red. And now what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and do a final drawing where you use these construction lines to remake the drawing so that it's more three-dimensional. So on this cat red layer, you might draw this, and you might draw this, and you might draw this line down here. But instead of drawing this whole line, you might just do part of that line and part of this line so that it has sort of a three-dimensional look for it. You redraw your eyes and your mouth and everything, right? And so try and do kind of a nice drawing, a nicer drawing on this third layer here, or the red layer, so that you end up with what looks like a sort of a three-dimensional solid drawing of your character, whatever you drew. And so, I've already done that, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this layer I just made. And so then we'll turn that off, and well, actually, let's leave it on, and then you can see the red drawing that I made over the blue, and where I was trying to, get more solid drawing. And if I turn off my blue layer, if I click on this eyeball, then you can see that there's my drawing of the cat. And you can see that that has, more dimensionality to it. And that's why I had you guys make the copy of the original drawing, because you can turn that on now. It's so funny. It looks like this is the really smart cat, and this is his brother who's not so smart, right? But anyway, you can see the difference here. So, here's the sketch, that I just kind of drew out, and you can see how two-dimensional, how flat it is. In fact, it looks like this cat had a refrigerator dropped on him or something. But then when we get to this point, after taking the shapes and turning them into solid objects and then using that to redraw sort of the contours of the character, you can see how dimensional his ears are, how this looks like a cylinder. His face has a contour to it, and his body has, a certain amount of volume to it. So this shows you how you can take drawings that you do, whether they be characters or even backgrounds, on any sort of object, and make it look more three-dimensional and solid, more believable, based on using solid objects and three-dimensional objects as your base for drawing. Okay, and then now in this particular drawing, I didn't have what's called overlap. I didn't really have very much overlap, which is where certain things, certain lines go in front of others to show that one thing is in front of the other. I have a little bit here, and that the head is clearly in front of the ears. But in the example that you are shown in the video for number 11 of the 12 principles solid drawing, he does talk about overlap. And if you do a more complex character than this, you're probably going to have things like elbows and knees and things like that, or maybe clothing, areas where you need to draw in a little overlap, and that helps create the dimensionality of the character. Okay, so that's what I have for you guys today. That is the assignment, is to do this. Let me go back to the class here. So that video that I'm making right now will appear right here. You guys will be able to check it out and do your kind of drawing exercise, watch the video, and then go ahead and do a solid drawing exercise like this. And then please move on to working on your final animation. We're coming up on the end of the semester here, so you might want to put your nose to the grindstone and see how much of that animation you can get cranked out in the next couple weeks. There's no requirement that you finish a fully blown, colored, soundtracked, 30-minute animation. Nobody has that expectation. Just do the best that you can, and I look forward to seeing what you can create. If you have any questions or problems, please let me know. You can post them in questions in the forum, or you can email me directly. And once again, as I've said since we started up this semester, if you're having any sort of issues at all with using the program, getting access to a computer, or having a stylus to draw with, let me know. I'll see if there's anything I can do to help you in that regard. And also, if anything came up that's going to make it so you can't finish this class, let me know as soon as possible so I can help you with that. Okay, that's it for today. Have fun with your drawings. I look forward to seeing them. And have a great weekend. Enjoy this wonderful weather. And I will talk to you again next week.